even arranging for netizens to meet the US president to come find us. There was someone named Mai Yueki who, in the first 100 days, said during the day that it was best to speak as it could gain public support. Because of the fruit wine, everyone responded emotionally to you in such a way. After the election, you received a lot of support from the people. After the daytime, you have a big load, busy all the way until the midterm elections. And then looking at the midterm elections, you can still maintain the advantage in both the House and the Senate. Jintiao was present, watching with Dad to download how their documents were stacked. Can you explain the meaning contained within them? All right. In hand, the 100-day document agency SS also went to support Dad. All 40 of them. There is a genuine killing of dogs. How since President Eisenhower, the US president has had the lowest support in 70 years upon taking office. Actually, back and forth, this, all right, we mentioned the civil network. The machines from the previous day are all gone. And what about Jimmy Carter? Generally speaking, Jimmy Carter is all right now, needs to get all right now. Just push. Old Bush, you changed the 56th manuscript, Clinton 55. Little Bush 62, Obama 65. Donald Trump once 42, the lowest in history. Biden's tacit understanding this time broke the record, even reaching 49%, breaking an 80-year record. His public approval is low. All right. Even the most pro-Republican Fox News' support for Donald Trump is so good. Not to mention the rumors. How about you play the full text? Overall performance. Approval is 44. This is Fox. All right. With 55 opposed. The most people approve of border security. You can send an army to the left wing, and the number of people entering has decreased. This policy is the most popular, with 55 in support and 40 against. Immigration policy is mostly opposed, more than supported. I couldn't have guessed that 48 would be deported. By 40, deporting illegal immigrants like this. This is what they are doing to guard the border without being noticed, which is good. But using these methods that harass people's livelihoods and disregarding human rights to drive them away, it's all opposed by 49, supported by 45. There's a window below the window that has always been opened for us by policy, starting at 54 to 40. The biggest economic issue is 56 being killed by 8, taxes 53 being killed by 5, tariffs 58 to 33, and inflation 59 to 33. Generally speaking, he is most dissatisfied with his economic policy because he promised that when he took office, he would reduce some prices. But in the end, it didn't happen. There was no money for it. So, there are also significant doubts about his foreign policy. In the end, such great anger. There's no way to control your anger. Quickly returning to Fox News, there are many disputes over the national flag, with fake public opinion polls, and it's likely that it has never been done this way before. The fans of a media are conducting fake public opinion polls, and they still hold me and Mac's friend responsible, but it can also, in fact, change the outcome. The Wall Street Journal still calls it loyalty, but it's just trash, and you get angry. Indeed. All right. At that time, you can laugh wildly at his strategy to manipulate the big pie. When the things you maintain well are overturned by tariffs tomorrow, your citizenship intake will significantly decrease, and even canceling it is impossible. As I mentioned earlier, we must ensure that the entry point for the US is $3.2 trillion, all of which should be subject to tariffs, the income tax. Of $2.5 trillion should also be collected, and even if there are no tariffs on $3.2 trillion, our various retail consultants will also do less. This is an additional $2.5 trillion, so even if there are no tariffs, the income tax you are considering now is not possible. It is being discussed, especially for those earning less than $200,000, who will face more taxes. Moreover, how many palaces dare to do this? How many mountains are long? And how many will be affected when Americans are greatly impacted? Externally, the taxes are emphasized along with external revenue. But is it good for foreigners to pay taxes? As a result, the rising prices and the taxes imposed are most concerning, allowing Americans earning $200,000 to potentially be tax exempt. People are afraid to seek help from others, primarily imposing private penalties, increasing mainland tariffs by 145%, and a 10% tariff on all imported products to be implemented after 90 days. Reciprocal tariffs include a 25% tariff on imported steel, aluminum, and automobiles. This does not comply with USMCA for Canada, with only a 25% tariff on products, and there will also be announced tariffs on semiconductors, pharmaceuticals, and lumber. The federal government laid off 75,000 people and attempted to reduce taxes, but he was not successful. He established a strategic reserve for Bitcoin, but in fact, he confiscated Bitcoin and did not manage to purchase it for the reserve. The market reacted, with the Bill Standard and Poor's Index rising by 7.8%, and the dollar index rebounded strongly by 9%, affecting government bond yield. The 10-year government bond yield fell by 39 basis points. Donald Trump's approval rating is still at 45%. Most people disapprove of his tariff increases and government spending. His approval rate is 40. What do they disagree on? Overall, 40% approve and 59% disapprove of the tariff increases. For the tariff increase, 39% approve and 59% disapprove. This is something related to dose, which is something Elon Musk helped him with 44% approval and 55% disapproval. All right, let's take a look. Most Americans say that if a federal court rules an action illegal, the government should stop it. This is the spirit of the rule of law. 78% believe you should comply with court rulings, while 19% think it's unnecessary. 19% think it's unnecessary. All right, what if the Supreme Court makes a ruling? For example, if the Supreme Court's 9 justices tell you to take back the glass air, 89% say they would comply, while only 9% say they wouldn't. I don't understand these people. So it turns out they don't care about the law, all right? What do they like the least and the most? What they like the most is immigration policy, illegal immigration, this. The least liked, overall, is 11 to 22, reducing government by 9 to 11, tariffs 6, with 15 opposing. The least liked is foreign policy at 24, while the most liked economic strategy is 3. The most important are these few. Immigration is the most supported overall, along with reducing government employees and tariffs. All right, how is the economic outlook for the United States? In February, when he took office, only 40% thought it was heading in a good direction, while 37% thought it was not, which was a positive 3%. Now it's a positive 36%, with 45% thinking it's not good, which is a negative 9 from a positive 3 to a negative 9, a swing of 12 points. Support across all age groups, genders, and ethnicities is lower than the disapproval rate, with an overall support of 40.59. Men support him a bit more. He likes masculine things. Men's support is at 44, with 55 opposed. Women are a big issue. Women are not very convinced by his attitude, especially since they are more concerned about prices because they need to make immediate purchases. 37% approve, while 62% disapprove. For white people, it's 49 to 51. For white people, this, that. The support rate is slightly losing. For black people, it's a big issue, 14 to 82. For Filipinos, it's 27 to 72. And for Asians, it's 29 to 69. This 29, most of them are, I see, those Hong Kong people, those KOLs. This is where all the supporters of Falun Gong are within that 29. There's not much difference in age. Younger people tend to dislike him more. All right, there's a significant difference in education level. Among postgraduates, 71% dislike him, and only 27% like him. For college graduates, it's 36 to 63. And for those with some college education, high school graduates don't hate him as much. All right, his support among Republicans remains solid. His group of MAGA supporters don't think he's done anything wrong. They believe he's right within the Republican Party. Among his supporters, 75% support him, while 24% do not. In the Democratic Party, it's 93 to 7 against him, which averages out to approximately 60 to 40. All right, among those who say they voted for Trump, it's 88 to 11, meaning he lost 11%. I strongly support this person, but there are 4% less. I support this person very much, but there are 24% less. Oh, Harrison Ford is not to be mentioned. This is Harrison Ford's side, which is bigger than this. This is perfect. Completely against him. All right. Reducing government budget. Reducing government budget. This is how it is. 55 do not support it. 44 do support it. But you need to note, this is 44 to 5, but the opposition is very strong, with 36 strongly opposing. The gap between this and that is 15 points, very strong. 36 strongly support, compared to the overall, which is 11, the strong support is 15 points apart. Increasing tariffs is the same, 59 to 39. But 43 strongly oppose it, while only 17 strongly support it, resulting in a negative 26 difference. 26-20 becomes negative 26. All right, reducing DEI, I couldn't have guessed this. Reducing DEI has more than half of the people in favor, with 35 strongly opposing it, and among these university intellectuals, 8 are in favor. People think, according to Reuters and other sources, including a third of Republican voters, that you shouldn't freeze university funding just because of disagreements. Among everyone, it's 57 to 28, more than 2 to 1. For Republicans, it's 28% to 57. Republicans are 2 to 1. 2 Republicans in favor, 1 against. While for Democrats, it's 89 to 5. This goes beyond 9 to 1, and the others are the most important. This is just an ordinary matter. The same on both sides, 56 to 23, with very little support. Very little support. In the struggle with Harvard, he will definitely lose. Donald Trump's tough stance on Canada has made people dislike Canada. He heavily promotes these things. In 2023, 62% considered Canada a close ally, and 25% considered Canada a friendly country. Those who thought it was neither friendly nor an enemy were 2%. Now, those who consider it an ally are 40%, and those who think 19% think it's not friendly, which is a significant increase, adding 10%, giving a bad impression of Canada. Surprisingly, more people in Mexico consider it an ally, but overall, those who think it's an ally have decreased. This means that the perception of a close ally has dropped from 60% to less than half, at 45%, a significant decline. The US-Canada relationship has plummeted. All right, what about stocks? Stocks are hard to predict. George W. Bush's stocks plummeted during the first 100 days. In Bush's first term, Bush's second term, and Obama's terms, they once fell but then recovered to almost no loss. In Obama's first term, Obama's second term, Donald Trump's first term, and Biden's first term, he and George W. Bush experienced the largest declines. Only Bush and he had the largest declines. The United States has a total of 185 million stock market investors, accounting for 55% of the population, which is the highest globally. The most people buy stocks, and when those people lose money on stocks, the impact is significant. Second is Canada, where Canadians are buying American stocks. Australia, the UK, New Zealand, these people like to buy stocks. Sweden, and Russia also have many investors. Indeed, Russia has many as well. All right, the Federal Reserve talks about global risks. Does this have anything to do with me, Donald Trump? Look, global trade risks, this originally surged from 33 to over 70. Why? Tariffs. Oh, the sustainability of debt has slightly decreased. Policy uncertainty has increased. These two, inflation, persistent inflation, risk asset depreciation, government bond operations, all risks have increased. Overall, this pressure will translate into pressure on the voters. Donald Trump wants to paint a big picture to entice everyone to continue supporting his policies, but it's very difficult. He met with Walmart, Costco, and a few others at the White House. He said if things continue like this, in a few months the shelves will be empty and people will panic. Therefore, Donald Trump must resolve this trade negotiation issue within 3 months. But even with reductions, it can't be completely reduced. As for those tariffs, I've calculated it, and no matter how you calculate it, it will translate into a CPI increase of about 2 to 3%. You shouldn't call it inflation. This is a one-off CPI increase. However, this alone has already caused the Federal Reserve to, I'm too lazy to do it. If there's a recession on one side and inflation on the other, then it's very difficult to manage. This is deflation. What's the most dangerous thing? The most dangerous thing is how the public perceives it. The public predicts that inflation will be around 6% in a year. Currently, there is inflation, and consumer confidence has dropped from over 70 to just over 50. They are worried about a recession, and being concerned about both recession and inflation is the most dangerous. That's how it was in Qatar at that time, with inflation of over 10% and an unemployment rate of over 10% as well. This is called the distress rate ratio, which is the index that makes you feel worried, and it's currently rising. Everyone, well, there's also Donald Trump, and there's a hat. Should we buy it as a souvenir? Someone said that because I wore a MAGA hat. I support Donald Trump. They clearly haven't watched my videos. I bought it as a joke when I went to the US. I have a Donald Trump MAGA hat there. Should I buy this hat? Well, he said Donald Trump has started selling Donald Trump 2028 merchandise. Is he really planning to run in 2028? Wearing a Donald Trump 2028 hat, breaking the existing rules, which are the constitutional rules. The constitutional rules. Donald Trump has mentioned many ways to bypass the Constitution to serve a third term. Everyone listen up, go online and listen to the story I tell about the lion and the sheep. In fact, the most important aspect of democracy in practice is the ability to change leaders. If one person, or any party stays in power for too long, it becomes excessive.